Hi everyone, good day. This is Sir JP to discuss another topic about different types of tests according to its kinds. So let us know what are those types of tests in this video. So first is the general purpose of the test. So we have two types, which is the educational test and the psychological test. So educational test, these are the tests that measures the results or effects of instructions. This is about the teachers or the lessons that the teachers discuss during teaching learning process or the different types of tests na binibigay ng isang teacher such as yung quizzes, um, written activity, and then yung exams. So also the psychological test aims to measure intangible aspects of behavior such as attitudes, interest, emotional adjustment, intelligence, and the ability. So in psychological test, examples of these are the intelligence test, aptitude test, and the behavioral test. So ito, psychological test is about the characteristics, yung mga hindi basta-basta nasusukat. So okay, second one we have the scope, which has to the survey and mastery. So in survey, it measures the student's general level of achievement regarding a broad range of learning outcomes. So in survey, may mga pinanggagalingan na hindi natin alam yung pwedeng isagot nila. And it's about the level of achievement na every students have their own idea kung ano yung isasagot nila dun sa isang test na yon. And when talking about also the mastery, it is the achievement test which measures the degree to which an individual has mastered certain instructional objectives or a specific learning outcome. So in mastery, this is what happens in the classroom. That does the students master the lessons given by the teacher? Does the students follow and cope up with the discussions? Na-master ba nila yung lessons or hindi pa? So that's about the mastery. Next, we have with the use of words. We have verbal test, ordinarily paper and pencil test, but words are used. It assesses the ability to understand and comprehend written passage. Okay? Yung mga sinasagutan natin sa verbal test, these are the tests that uses words and then ina-analyze kung kaya ba or ina-assess kung kaya ba ng estudyante or naiintindihan niya yung mga written text. And talking about non-verbal test, it is also a paper and pencil test but does not use words to give meaning. It tests the ability to analyze a visual information and solve problem based on visual reasoning. So, if in verbal test we used words, in non-verbal test we are not using words but we focus on diagrams and pictures to use in reasoning. Okay, next is about the level of difficulty. We have the speed test, also called as alertness test. And speed and accuracy of students is evaluated. Test how fast the examiners answer the questions. So in speed test, sinusukat lang kung gaano mo kabilis masasagutan yung isang sagot. So, yung isang tanong, gaano mo mga ba kayang sagutan? It's either kahit mahirap ba yung question, mabilis mo lang masasagot. We are talking about the duration of the test. Kung gaano lang kabilis matapos yung isang test item or test questions. And unlike power test, the items are arranged in increasing order of difficulty, measures the ability of the students to answer more and more difficult questions. So in power test, this is level by level. So, pwede kang tanungin from basic to complex, pero padagdag ng padagdag yung hirap ng isang test question. Sinusukat dun kung hanggang saan yung kaya mong sagutin, even yung questions ay sobrang hirap na. So, kung sa speed test, wala yun sa hirap or sa dali ng isang test. Ang sinusukat lang sa speed test ay yung bilis. Sa power test ay sinusukat kung gaano mo kayang sagutin yung mga mahihirap na tanong. Okay? We have Number 5, how tests are constructed. There are two types of tests constructed. First is the standardized test, and second is the informal test. So in standardized test, it is interpreted with the use of standards. Norms are statistical measures which provide basis for interpreting test scores, and a test that is constructed by expert in the fields. So this is standardized test are types of test na ang gumagawa ay yung mga experts na. Ano ba yung mga expert na yun? Such as supervisors, master's teachers, and um, principals, or mga, ano pa tawag sa kanila? Basta mga higher ups, yung mga kaya na talagang gumawa doon sa field na yon. So, first example of standardized test can be the periodical exams of the public schools. Bakit siya nagiging standardized test na ngayon? Because the test paper na ginagamit nila ngayon is hindi naman yung teacher yung gumagawa. Okay? Hindi yung teacher doon sa mismong classroom, but the teacher or the master's teachers, and even from the division's office. Unlike dito sa may langaw na pa-extra. Uy. So, okay. If yung standardized test ay ginagawa ng mga expert, in informal test, ito naman yung test that is constructed by the classroom teachers. Meaning to say, ito na yung mga ginagawa na may mga teachers or mga teachers na nasa loob ng isang school. So, ano ba to? So, informal test, pwede bang yung long quiz, yung chapter test, and other types of test na ginagawa ng mga hindi professionals or non-professionals. Okay po, pag sinabi natin standardized test, these are tests that being constructed by expert, while informal tests are the tests that being constructed by the classroom teachers and even non-professionals. We have test item format. So, we have selective test and supply test. Pag selective test, ito yung may pagpipilian ka, may options na pwede mong isagot. Okay, sana all may option. So, in supply test, this is a test that requires the examiners to state or give the answers. So, in selective test, we can say it is a multiple choice test, true or false, pwedeng yung identification na may given na pwede mong isagot, matching type, and let's talk about supply test. This is a test that requires the examiners to state or give the answers. Ano ba yung mga examples nito? Example is that ang example nito ay yung fill in the blank, essay, or ano pa ba yun? Yun, essay, fill in the blank. Okay, we also have the manner of administration. First is group test and individual test. Talking about group test, this is a test that is administered to a group of individuals, and it is a test that generally considered to be economical. So group test, meaning to say it's a group of students, ina-administer siya sa group ng mga tao. Kagaya ng periodical test na sabay-sabay, and also ano pa ba yung mga group test? Placement test, and etc. Okay, individual test, again, a test that is administered to one-to-one basis using oral questioning. So, yung group test, grupo kayo, yung individual, syempre mag-isa ka na lang. So, next is the scoring manner, objective and subjective. So, talking about objective, this is a test that has a greater reliability and no judgment required for scoring. Easier to agree when more than one scorer. So, bakit siya madaling scorean kapag objective? Because in objective, the answer is very specific. Ito yung tamang sagot, ito lang yung tamang sagot. Yun na mismo yung sagot. In subjective, judgment is called for scoring and may be used rubrics. Bakit? Ano ba yung meron kay subjective? So, meaning to say, kapag subjective kasi, these are broad topics. Okay, let's have example essay. This is a type of subjective test, essay. Bakit siya subjective? Every person has different perceptions about things. So you have to create your own rubrics in order for you to score those answers na ibibigay nila. Kasi if you don't have, maybe if you don't have rubrics, mahihirapan ka sa pag-grade ng mga subjective types of test. Okay po, you have the objective and subjective. Kapag objective, again, andun na yung tamang sagot, ito yung tamang sagot, yun lang. Direct to the point. And subjective, there's no very specific right answers, but you have to create a rubrics kung ano ba yung mga criteria na kailangan ma-meet ng students in a subjective types of test. Okay, we also have mode of interpretation, the norm reference, and the criterion reference. Norm reference test determines how an individual performs compared to the others. So, in norm reference test, you as a students, your performance will be comparing to other students, to another students. So, sometimes, yung norm reference is also called a subjective reference. Bakit siya subjective? Every students have their own ability, have their own capacity. Kaya kapag kinumpare mo siya sa isang estudyante, iba yung lalabas na results. At kapag kinumpare mo siya sa other students, iba pa din yung kakalabasan. Let's have an example. So, in student 1 and 2, kinumpare mo si 1 kay 2, which is si 1 mas magaling. Si student 1 mas magaling kay 2. Okay? But, nung kinumpare si student 2 kay 3, mas magaling naman si student 2 kay 3. Kaya siya nagiging subjective. Kasi their positions of their performance may vary according kung kanino siya ikukumpara. Unlike in criterion reference, this can be objective reference because the students is being compared to the sets of criteria. Kahit saan mo siya, i-compare mo siya dun sa criteria, lalabas pa din yung performance na nagawa ng students. Hindi kagaya nung norm reference na pag kinumpare mo siya sa isang estudyante, pwede siyang mababa dun, tapos kinumpare mo siya dun sa isa, pwede naman siyang mas mataas dun sa isa. Okay? In criterion reference, against the students is being compared to the set of standards. And lastly, the test according to response. Response po yan. So we have written the test that answers through text, oral response verbally to a given test, kaya nga siya oral, and performance test that has performance task to comply. So those are the different types of tests according to its kind. Yung 10, which is test according to response. We have mode of interpretation, the scoring manner, manner of administration, test item format, standardized, how tests are constructed, level of difficulty, width of words, scope, and general purpose. So those are the different types of tests. So that's all. I hope that you learned from me, and thank you and God bless.